Sit down, man. He's got to check his framing.
Damn. Takes a minute to get all this ass in the seat. I got junk in my trunk.
All that Taco Bell, man.
He's very good.
What are you doing, dude?
Here's his Pac-Man impression. He's auditioning for Pixels Part 2. Welcome to...
Welcome to Good Thing, Bad Thing.
Does that, right?
Here's my co-host, Sintel Koei.
It's your boy.
Our guest. Say your name.
I'm Caitlin. I thought you were gonna say it. You're
Caitlin.
You're gonna say your name if you know what's good for you.
And then we have Jane over there.
Hello.
We don't have any comments this week because I have been delayed on putting out last week's episode, which is gonna come out today. Yay. So let's just go straight to it. My good thing is injuries. You see, I have crutches here. On Friday, I was at gymnastics practicing a move I'm gonna show you guys right now. It's awesome, right? Except I ran up the wall and I heard a something happened to my foot. I couldn't walk anymore and something was weird and I called Faye up. I'm like, I don't know if I can drive home. I think I broke my foot because it felt like something was like falling out of the bottom of my foot.
Yeah, it was called your common sense.
We went to the doctor and I found out that it was like a tendon got pulled out of my heel or something like that. What?
That's
Go ahead.
not good.
Plantar fascia.
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but it's on the better side of things because I don't see any weird discoloration in my feet. So the healing process should be like maybe a week or two so I can get back to flipping again. But this is a good thing. The reason why it's a good thing is because Sintel likes to fuck with me and say shit when I'm injured. The last time I got seriously injured was over a cooking accident. I was on a date 5 years ago and I was cutting an avocado. Let me back up. The meal was cooked. The meal was completely done. And I was drunk. I had a cup of wine in me. And I'm like, I'd like some avocado with this meal. So I start cutting an avocado. And I'm like, it's not cutting. It's like, it was, what's it called when it's not ready? It's not ripe, right? Okay. And I'm cutting, and I go, and my knife goes straight through the avocado into my finger. And I look and I'm like, that's my bone.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was like, do I have to go to the hospital? And the girl and my roommate was like, yes. I'm like, fuck, that sucks. Whole evening in the ER.
Didn't even get to eat your dinner.
Didn't get to eat my dinner.
And then he bled all over the food like a savage.
Now, after enough time passed, Sintel sent me a picture of me fighting an avocado in the avocado.
Yeah, it was absolutely great.
The reason why injuries are good is because it reminds you that you're human. It reminds you to appreciate when you're not injured. Just like being sick feels like the worst feeling in the world. And you're like, oh my God, I cannot wait for this to be over. It makes you really pay attention to everything. You don't realize how precious your foot is until it's injured. You don't realize how precious your shoulder is until it's injured. Like, you can't do everything the same. I couldn't like sleep on this shoulder because I got a contusion in it once for 3 months.
Where'd you get the contusion from?
Parkour.
See, pain is also nature's way of telling you you're doing dumb shit. See, human beings aren't meant to run 3 stories up walls and do backflips and land on their feet. It's just not a natural thing. So your body's gonna do things from time to time to remind you that you're a fucking human being, man.
There was I called up Sintel once because I was like, hey man, my chest has been hurting lately. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I've just been like swimming, doing the breaststroke. He's like, dude, swimming is the most passive exercise. Old people do swimming. How are you hurting? You're doing something wrong if you're hurting yourself while you're swimming.
No, that's not true. You got to use all your like breast muscles.
I want to use my breasts.
You don't want to end up with like a pulled tit. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad
You gotta
thing.
get your titty meat worked out correctly, man.
Yes, Sintel needs to work his titties. So anyway, that's basically, I mean, what do you guys think? Have you ever been injured? You've been injured.
Oh, a lot. And it actually didn't stop me. I was a dancer when I was in high school and college, and I choreographed a piece on point, and I had to perform it in a couple of weeks. I wasn't doing anything dangerous. At the time, I was doing karate. I was dancing in a couple of companies, and I broke my freaking toe walking at home.
Wow.
But because I was a ballerina, I walked kind of like a duck, and I just snagged it like just the right way, the right time and velocity, I guess, against this like iron thing or whatever that broke my toe. And I still danced. I still, throughout the pain, just got up on point and did the show and collapsed afterwards.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
That is more balls than any man I have ever met.
It was a toe. It wasn't like a shoulder or an entire foot falling off.
It doesn't matter. I know. There's a friend of mine who broke her toe and she had to be on crutches for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, and ballet is different as well. Like most sports, you don't have load-bearing toes. That's
it was a load-bearing toe. It sucked.
And you injured yourself. You fell down and like almost died or something.
Oh no! I've just got this like epic scar on my foot because I was going to dinner and I just slipped.
It's
on a
bleeding
hill.
right now. Like she's just like chilling with blood gushing out of her foot.
Yeah, I
puddle.
just slipped and I just like fell down on my face on this really steep hill and this like handsome man like rushed to my rescue. But instead of like acting like, oh, thank you, like all damselly, I was just like, I'm fine. And like just kind of like was trying to like cry to myself and like just pushed him away. And I was like, no. And then I kind of just like hobbled down the hill. Aww. And when I got to the restaurant, he was waiting out the front and I was like, hey, and just kind of just dripping with blood, like, I'm fine. Yeah, it was not ladylike.
What's the worst injury you've gotten? You don't get injured much,
Oh,
do you?
yeah, I do. I mean, I was an athlete back in the day. So I had a really bad one. I was, this is like 10 or 11 years ago, and I was living in Atlanta. I was on a date with a girl I've been trying to hook up with for ages, man. And we were at dinner, and everything is going right. And she was like, you want to take this to the next, go back to my spot or whatever? I'm like, hell yeah. So I hop out of the thing. I was like, just wait. Let me go get the car. We going to be out of here. I told you this story.
I know this story. This is awesome.
So I'm running to get to the valet, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh shit, this is it. It's about to happen. And the next thing I know, I'm running, I see the door, and then bam, I hit the ground. Sleep. I'm like halfway coming to, the parking attendant is like holding me, and he's like, dog, are you all right? I was like, what the hell just happened? He was like, you hit the plate glass window. I was running so fast to try and get to the car, I didn't even see the window. It was a whole wall. I hit that shit like a bird hits a windshield. Laid out, busted my lips all the way out. My teeth went like through my lips and stuff. Bleeding out all over the place. The girl's looking at me like, yeah, needless to say, I went home with dry balls that night. Yeah, I got knocked out and bled out on a date.
Well, you were just giving Anthony shit for doing things your body shouldn't do. That's your body being like, dude, you got to play it cool. And
Yeah, or at least slow down.
That's why Trey saunters everywhere. That's why he's always like cool now. Like, he's always got a hand out, just making
just
sure.
learned the hard way.
Just make sure there's no objects in front of him.
All right, let's move on. So what's your good thing, man?
All right, so my good thing is this new television show that's coming out on USA.
I'm not saying anything new. We all know why we do this. Because it's painful not to pretend. Because we're cowards.
Elliot, you're not saying anything. What's wrong?
Nothing.
All right, so that's just a small little snippet and doesn't really explain shit. But it's the story about a young hacker. Think of like Neo, but in modern day terms without the Matrix. And he has the ability to hack into other people's lives and pull up, their deepest, darkest secrets and, if use it against them. There's also a huge addition, which is Christian Slater, who I just love.
He's Mr. Robot.
Yeah, and I guess he's going to be like his Morpheus, teach him the ways of the hacker or whatever. It's a good little hacking show that deals with social media, corporations, the power of big government and big business, and how the little guy can, I guess, in a way, kind of fight crime through the use of
Now I know
terminals.
this is fiction.
No, it's absolutely fiction, but it's a kind of a refreshing kind of new show that's not another doctor show and not another damn cop show. So.
Right. I saw an article on IGN about it that's basically saying it's like Watch Dogs. If Watch Dogs was really... Watch Dogs is a video game where you have a cell phone and you can just hack anything around you. You can hack people's phones, you can hack cameras. And I was watching some of the behind the scenes. What do you think about the actor playing him?
To me, I've only seen one dimension, and that's always the brooding, I'm in pain kind of guy, and I'm wondering if he can bring something else to it other than just that. He certainly has the look of somebody that's an introvert.
I watched the behind the scenes. He talks just like that in real life. That's exactly how he behaves. Just kind of weird and like, it's real hacking. It's like crazy, like your phone, like they can like look inside your phone and see. I'm like, dude, fucking like open your mouth when you talk, please. Enunciate your words.
I did get a chance to watch the pilot. It does have its problems. It has no original ideas. It's either a direct rip from Fight Club, a direct rip from The Matrix, or Watchdog, like you just said. It's just too busy attaching its wagon to other successful projects. And with that being said, if it doesn't find its own voice, I don't think it's going to make it.
Well, while we're on this topic, how do you guys feel about Big Brother? Do you put tape over your phone, over your laptop's camera? Because that's what the guy was claiming in the behind the scenes. He's like, it's very easy for people to just hack into your phone. I heard something weird about how they can hack into your phone as you're walking around like your apartment, and whoever it is hacking can just snap photos and get the complete layout of your apartment. Just randomly snapping photos. And I've seen people who have put tape over their shit, and I'm like, are you that important? Are you that
That's
important?
how I feel.
Yeah.
It's like I don't feel like my life is really that significant for
Yeah.
anyone to want to do that. My stuff isn't cool enough to check out. Like if you want to take a picture of the inside of my house, you're not going to see anything really worth your
Yeah.
time.
It's not your house they're interested in.
Yeah. They'll be like, bitch, do your dishes. Come on.
But you know what? Another instance of this is when the Xbox One came out. There was a huge fuss going on about it because you were unable to actually play the machine unless you connected to the internet.
Right.
And it had to be constantly on. And the motion detection software could conceivably be on 24/7. And then add to the fact that it's got facial and voice recognition on top of it. That's just a lot of access to you at all times.
Right. There was another thing they said, like, you could say Xbox on and it would turn on. And people were like, yeah, that's a weird thing that your Xbox is just constantly listening to you.
Listening, see?
They had that thing recently where they told people to be careful what they say around their Samsung TVs. Did you hear about
What?
that? Yeah,
Are
no,
you serious?
The news was like, so guys, everyone with those like funky new Samsung TVs.
Bomb.
You can say
Allah, Buddha.
no, really. You can say some really questionable things, and it'll like kind of like show up in your
That's scary.
yeah. Like Samsung was like, okay, guys, just be aware of this.
Yeah, see, it's all fun
It
and
was
games
legit,
until
yeah.
you're like in the courtroom and you think that you're fine and dandy, and the next thing you know on the witness stand is your goddamn television.
This sounds,
You're like,
this sounds like a Black Mirror episode. Like, it could definitely be one.
Back several years ago, on the Kindle when 1984 came out. Did you hear about this? For whatever reason, they needed to make an update to 1984 on the Kindle. So Amazon just reached into everyone's Kindle, changed out the story, and didn't say a word. And of all the
That's
books,
genius.
of all the books to do it on, they did it on 1984.
Right.
That is such a satisfying event.
I'm like, are you for real? Are you thinking about this at all?
Irony, people. Irony.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to who you got a good thing.
I have got a good thing.
Yeah, what's your good thing?
My good thing is reloading of like kind of old stories, old movies, old books, things like that. Like Batman, for example. Batman's been around since the 30s and he's been like reloaded heaps. Taking a known character and just like changing the story, like changing the premise, changing the feel.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think sequels can be good.
so what's worse, a sequel or a prequel?
Depends
as
who's
soon
making
as
it.
you say prequel, as soon as you say
Star
prequel,
Wars.
the first thing you think of is Star Wars.
Right.
Star Wars will always have a special place in my heart, but those prequels are just like, if you even say that they're not that bad.
No, they are.
The internet
bad.
will completely trounce you. You can't really do prequels anymore because of that.
I
Like,
think
what-
it depends on who's doing it, though. I think it can be done well depending on who's running it.
Yeah, they're few and
You
far
know?
between though.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yep.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it was a very good
freaking
movie.
awesome. That's why I'm
Yeah,
excited about
he's
the
the
next
man.
installment of Star
Okay, but then
Wars.
what about successful sequels?
Again,
They're
Empire
not all-
Strikes
They're
Back.
not all bad.
No, but sometimes the success is the problem. You know, it's because you like want the closure. Like for me, like I'm a massive Rocky fan, and like Rocky 6.
You're never gonna get closure on that shit.
No, like you know, like they're just
That is
objectively terrible.
Rocky is the highest quality cash grab I have ever seen. Like, because you watch all the movies.
I don't know. Have you seen Rocky 6? Not good.
The one's just called Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa,
I liked
yeah.
it. I thought it was
Yeah.
awesome. I watched it, and it's like the way he was returning to form, like he was returning to his roots, and just like his kind of goofball Italian nature.
Mm-hmm. I'm
I'm like, wow, he could still do this. He felt so real and genuine. I loved it. I bought the collection.
massive fan of Rocky, but Rambo as well. Like I used to really like First Blood, and then I read the book. Like just it came from a thrift shop for 50 cents. I read the book, and it is ridiculously fabulous. There is no space for Second Blood. Yet in the movie, they have to change the kind of outcome of the movie because they need to leave space for that money to be made on the sequel.
Yeah.
And there are too many Rambos now.
I like the very last one because it was like a caricature of itself. It was over the top in every capacity.
Yeah.
Back to talk about something else with the Rocky thing. Have you heard about the new one that's coming out where they're talking about...
Are they literally doing Rocky 7?
Yeah, they're doing Apollo Creed's son. Michael B. Jordan is going to play his son.
Rocky's not fighting in this one.
No, Rocky's going to be the trainer this time around.
he was
He's
in
gonna
Rocky
train
6 as
Apollo
well,
Creed's
and Rocky
son
5
to
kind
be
of.
the next champion.
I think most sequels are bad. The worst offender was, I think, Men in Black 2. Men in Black 2 was a film where, after that came out, there should have been fire in the streets. There should have been riots over that movie because it was so bad. It was so... Do you remember Men in Black 2 at all?
Yeah, well, vaguely.
It's
Yeah,
just
vaguely.
like from the beginning of the movie, you could see something was totally wrong, and it ended in this weird kind of awkward, clunky way. And people paid money for this. They paid their hard-earned money to see this. It completely took a shit on the audience. It was like a stab in the face. Just whisper the words Matrix Matrix Reloaded to Sintel over there. He's whisper the words revolutions, and you see what happens. He just starts going into a convulsion.
So the Reload and Ghostbusters,
with chicks.
it's an all-female cast this time around.
Not sure how I feel about that.
The story's good and it works. Why not?
Yeah, because
I don't have a problem with the females. I just have a problem with it's such a classic, man.
Yeah.
Some things just need to be left the fuck alone. Just walk away.
I don't know, you say that, but Wizard of Oz was amazing. It was actually done prior to that one too, the famous one that we all know of.
Going back to Ghostbusters, so you have an issue with hijacking it and making it an all-female cast?
No, not at all. I'm just like, I'm genuinely perplexed by how this is going to play out.
I'm always for hijacking products and replacing it with minorities and women.
Me too.
So, but see, okay, I'm with it as long as you can't force it. You can't do it just for the sake of doing it, because then it's just like you're ramming your point down our throat. If the woman or minority or whoever it is just fits the character well, then absolutely do
Definitely.
it. But just doing it just for the sake
Yeah.
of doing it.
Is it just for the sake of doing it? I mean, it's been a long time since a Ghostbusters film. And so I think that at this point, by redoing it and with all women, which I think is fantastic, it also brings back more viewership to the old films as well.
I just hope they have like a good homage to the original.
Back in the day with my writing partner, we used to write a lot of screenplays together. He would constantly get on me and be like, every script we write, there's like racial issues in the script somehow, and it has nothing to do with racial issues.
Right.
He's like, if you want to write Crash, go write Crash. And I'm like, well, if I write Crash, no one's going to watch that movie. But if I make a kung fu epic and I inject racial like things in there,
Right.
people are going to know about it. They're going to become aware of it. That's why I'm all for hijacking products that are already well established, because it's going to get watched anyway,
Right.
to bring some kind of awareness. Because if you just go and make an action movie with a bunch of girls, it's less likely to get that kind of attention that Ghostbusters 3 is going to get.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Right. Well, my thing is that if you're kind of slick with it, then that works. Like, okay, for a perfect example, with The Matrix Reloaded, which I absolutely can't stand, the fact that when they showed Zion and everybody in Zion were people of color, they weren't necessarily black or they weren't necessarily Asian or whatever it is, but they were just people of color to show, even though it's a dystopian kind of future and stuff is all over the place, people outside of just white people have a future. Like Mad Max, there's really nobody outside of just white people. The Jetsons, there's nobody.
There was
for the
Zoe
most part.
Kravitz.
Yeah, there's like one.
There was-
There's like one.
What?
There was
So-
Zoe Kravitz.
But
That was
the thing,
like,
but the thing is,
that's it.
but what I'm saying is like the Matrix did it away. They didn't beat you over the head with it.
That was spoken about though. Like there was a Caucasian challenged crowd in The Matrix Reloaded. There was no white people. I think that it was imbalanced. But they've made predictions about what people are going to look like in the future.
Right.
And they're going to look kind of like that, I
us.
guess.
Right.
Like us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go on to our bad things.
We've already broached this topic, which is race, and it's been discussed a lot lately. But Aloha. Freaking Aloha, it gets my blood boiling. How can you make a film of all white people in Hawaii where it's mostly people who look like us, Asian, white, and that you cast Emma Stone, who I love in so many films, I really do, but how could she take a role that was written for a half Asian, half white person?
So it's based in Hawaii.
It's based in Hawaii. Bradley Cooper is working for Bill Murray. It doesn't even matter. It so doesn't even matter. Like none of it matters except that you took beautiful mix Hawaii and you made it look like it's just filled with white people, which is just another film in Hawaii to do it. Like 50 First Dates did it.
The Descendants.
The Descendants did it.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing to do to Hawaii. But you're saying that there's not a single other name actress out there that could have taken the role. Olivia Munn could have done it, Maggie Q, or an unknown, whatever. Anybody, but somebody who's actually half Asian would have been great. Or rewrite the role. Because you would never see that happen to a black actor. You would never have a white person play a black actor these days.
No.
These days and call her black, though, would you?
No. Angelina Jolie played a black girl in a movie once.
Oh, she did?
In A Beautiful Mind, it was supposed to be a Spanish girl, but they replaced her with, who's that girl who was like in Requiem for a Dream?
Jennifer Connelly?
Do it in the ass. That
Not Jennifer Connelly? Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly.
How many times has Cleopatra been snatched
Yeah,
up?
that's
but,
true.
like,
Even
what
the
was
last Ten Commandments film, the Moses film that just
Exodus.
came out, Exodus.
Exodus.
Only
I know,
the
all white
slaves
people.
and servants were people of color.
That was like a moment where it's like, does nobody see the problem here?
Yeah.
This is really fucking obvious.
but
But
the thing
again,
is that
it
it
comes
isn't
down.
new.
It's not new, but it needs to be addressed now. But I understand why there is a reasoning for these big companies to do that, and it's because white people tend to sell internationally.
Yes.
Minority actors tend to not sell films as well internationally.
Yes.
But I'm calling bullshit on that.
Why?
Yeah.
Will Smith did it.
You beat me to it.
Before you hold on, how much does Will Smith bank overseas? Because I heard the opposite. I heard
really?
I heard he's got nothing overseas.
Are you kidding me?
I heard
I
the
will
opposite.
like.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
I will walk away from my job to go see a Will Smith movie. I would argue that, like, I mean, you know, not that I've lived everywhere, but I've spent a fair bit of time in other countries. And yeah, like, I don't think.
Hold on, I got a question for you. When was the last time you were in Australia?
Just a few weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are there minorities in Australia? Yes. Okay. Because this is the perfect subject to bring this up. A bunch of people got mad at me from a Mad Max review because I complained there were no minorities in the movie.
Except Zoe Kravitz.
Except Zoe
her.
Kravitz. That doesn't really count. She's
the
half
only
white.
one.
She's half-
So she's white too.
Which also makes her a minority. That's the other thing too that upsets me though, is that people who are half are considered all white. Like Obama's not all black. He's a mixed race person. In casting sometimes, 'cause I'm also an actress now, is that like I find myself either too white or too Asian for a lot of casting people.
That's the problem with being a hapa. That's the problem
Yeah.
with being a half Asian, half white person. It's like I go to auditions, and just the other day I went to an audition, and I'm like, I should just leave because it's a bunch of Asian dudes in the casting, and I'm like, they probably just want an Asian guy because they see me. I look like a Mexican next to these guys. I look more white next to these guys. And then I go to a casting with a bunch of white people, and then I look like the Asian guy. I'm like, I can't fucking win here.
Yeah,
and
I've been feeling that lately.
They say they want mixed people, and then you look at the final product, and it's all white people, and they're not PC about their conversations.
Right.
I've been in the rooms where they make these decisions after they said they wanted ethnically ambiguous, and it ends up being all Caucasian people. And I've heard people say, I've literally heard the words, I don't mind them all being white. And I'm like, I'm right. I'm literally 3 feet from these people. How is it possible?
That's why you got to punch him in the face. If you're within like a punching in the face distance, you strike.
It should be your rule.
Yeah.
It should be a rule, like a one sock rule. Like
Yeah.
you can't even like go to jail. You should be able to
That's
just sock somebody just one good time.
So, but going back to Mad Max, I saw it a second time with Chuck and Faye, and I did notice more black people than I had originally understood, and they were the people under the
Tree.
water with
upsetting.
the bedpans to catch the water.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was like, wow, that's something.
But if you notice, most films that are like based in the future, you're not going to see a lot of minorities in it.
But that's the crazy because the thing it's
and
like
even movies in the past, you don't really see a lot of them either.
I researched it, and most of the minorities in Australia are Asian.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's
and there's no Asians at all in Mad Max.
See, and you know, and what's crazy is just out of my own ignorance.
Are we talking about old Mad Max or the new one?
The new Mad Max.
Because the new Mad Max isn't really Australian, is it? Like, I haven't seen it.
That's what they say. That's
Oh,
what
really?
everyone's got an Aussie accent.
I don't think that the conversation comes up. You could just cast anybody and people would be like, all right, new movie, let's do it. But then you also don't have this conversation. It's like, we really need to represent the actual cross-section of society that we have.
Ridley Scott came right out and said, I can't cast minorities in the lead roles. It won't make money. He literally came out and said that.
He's a director. Why does he give a shit?
He's producing also.
Oh, okay.
He's got a lot of control over his movies.
You got to make it a lot more common so that it's not just some weird thing. So that the shock value of somebody of color isn't determining box office sales. That's just ridiculous.
I got a gem for you. John Wayne played Genghis Khan back in the day.
That's awesome.
And he thought it was his best performance ever.
Oh my God. Insensitivity for the win.
You turned on the subject that I've gone into a whole bunch. I'm sure you have too. Back in the day, there was a movie with Marlon Brando called Sayonara. That was the first film where an Asian woman got an Academy Award. So I watched it. I'm like, I got to check this out. This Japanese woman has the worst Japanese accent I've ever heard in my life. It's almost like I had you do a Japanese accent and you got an Academy Award.
Great accents, man.
I'm like, wow, this is something. It just demonstrates the level of ignorance that we had as an audience back in the 50s. I'm sure all the Japanese people were like, oh, God, and just losing their mind, but all the white people were like, yeah, that's awesome, and she got an Academy Award. Anyway, let's move on. What's your bad thing?
My bad thing are daddies overdoing it. There's a father out here who wants to be the daddy of the year and his daughter wants to be a princess. In his great wisdom, he decided to go to the Sudan and claim like 800 square kilometers of land for his daughter. And it's like, you can be the princess of your now newly found sovereign nation. What makes it even worse is that now they're going to do like a movie about it. So I think this is a horrible thing because A, you're way over catering to the needs of your daughter. Just get her a pony.
Even that's
Even
overdoing
that's
it, really.
extreme.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. B, you go to Africa and just claim land like you're Christopher fucking Columbus. And C, you're claiming land from a war-torn kind of country right now that's kind of going through something pretty major, genocide right now. I don't see any smiling faces in this. And then to make a movie about it,
Yeah.
it's just
What's the
ridiculous.
lesson? Why are we telling the story on this platform? Hopefully, it's to say that it's way overdoing it and not rewarding the behavior.
Yeah, and to make a movie of it is just, it is rewarding.
Yeah.
There was a long established idea of what a princess thing was supposed to be, and it heavily influenced our culture, and what you're talking about is perpetuating that and making it worse. I remember I was in an anthropology class. I don't know if I talked about this on this show. I was in an anthropology class, and the subject came up of should men pay for everything? And this woman was like, no, just 75% of everything. I was mad. I was so mad. I'm like, we live in LA, first of all, where everything is expensive, and that makes it worse. That makes inequality worse if women aren't paying for their share of things. That's basically saying women are dumb and can't take care of themselves.
Okay, but if that is the case, does that kill chivalry?
Can't we all just be nice to each other?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'll open it. We talked
I
about
opened the
this.
door for you
I'll open the door
earlier
for you.
today.
You open the door for me. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
He's Southern. He's Southern, old school.
I am. I'm Southern, and that's just a part of the culture of being a Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
Is that you go out of your way to make sure that your woman doesn't need and want. You're the one that's supposed to carry the burden of that. It's just the chivalrous man thing to do.
But don't you expect your woman to take care of your needs in a similar fashion?
Yeah, I mean the flip side of that coin is that a woman knows her place.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. I'm not agreeing
Yeah.
with it.
But
I'm
see-
not saying I agree with it,
see-
but I'm just saying there's a line drawn in the
Right.
sand that men do this and women do that. I'm not saying that's how
Right.
it needs to be done before I start getting the hate mail
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Remember how we were talking about that 3 feet punch rule?
Yeah,
You're getting
getting
close,
socked.
man. Yeah.
I don't think a woman knows her place. That's bullshit. I would never say that. But the southern part of me, as far as what a man is supposed to do in treating a woman, I do agree with.
Yeah.
I do think that a man should open doors.
I tell you what, though, what you end up with is women acting the part not to offend someone, because I do. I mean, where I grew up, like, you don't get chivalry. It doesn't exist. Like, just walking down the street here, there's a noticeable difference between the genders. And it's probably just like the particular variety of like gender roles that I'm used to. It's not like Australia isn't sexist. It's just a slightly different brand of what I'm used to. I have to like figure out what to do here in order to like not offend gentlemen.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially like all like the funny stuff, like, like the catcalling and everything. It's got a lot of like talk at the moment. I just think it's funny as shit. Like, you're walking down the street and someone will just be like, hey, beautiful, what's up? And you're just like, hello, how are you? And they're like,
Was that Sintel who said that to you?
that's how we met, yeah.
Let's get on to our last bad thing. My bad thing is online gaming. Now, I know you game online, and I know you two are religious gaming fanatics. There is something to be said for online gaming. It is cool in some respects because you can play with people around the world. I know that on World of Warcraft, people have met each other and gotten married. It's weird shit, but that's the future. People meet online while they're gaming and they end up liking each other and getting married. That's cool. But the thing is, that has completely substituted couch co-op gaming. There's a new game that just came out called Splatoon for Nintendo Wii U. It's this way to introduce children to online gaming. Okay. The only couch co-op mode that exists is a 1 versus 1. Now, I've got my girlfriend and my daughter, right?
Right.
I want to be able to play with all three of them.
Right.
You saw the Borderlands video, but it's like there's so few games you can do that now with. Everything has gone the way of online. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and everyone just injecting into this system and just sitting on the couch talking to strangers. And it's like, what happened to the old days when everyone used to pile into the living room together and play games together? I miss those days.
Yeah, I think it's because of money.
It has a lot to do with, I think, the fact that you sell more copies of the game
Right.
if you don't make couch co-op available.
Exactly. It boils down to that.
They've been trying to get rid of couch co-op since PlayStation 1. They tried to introduce for Super Nintendo the X Band or something like that. I don't know if you all remember that, but you like plug in your phone line into this like Game Genie looking thing to play online with strangers, and it completely failed because it just it wasn't equipped for it yet.
Well, there are a couple of games that still kind of hold on to it a little bit, like Diablo, but there is something that is missing about the camaraderie of everybody coming together, and now is isolating everybody. And then the online experience on top of it, unless you're gaming with like friends that you meet all the time, it's still a pretty isolated experience because the camaraderie just isn't the same with people that you grew up with.
Right.
But I don't think it's coming back. I think it's
No,
gone.
it's not. But this transcends into everything else in our culture as well. I mean, even dating now, it's awkward to just approach someone and ask someone out on a date. Now everything is kind of in this mysterious profile online. People are Tindering now. It's like there's no. I don't want to use this word, but there's no old school like approach anymore. You can't just approach people because that's awkward. You might be like a stalker or something. Right. Within 30 seconds, you can be classified as a hunk or a stalker.
Less than that if you use Tinder. It's a span of like 2 seconds. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It's that fast.
Right.
You have two personalities. You have your true self and you have your avatar.
Right.
And right now, the avatar is gaining power. It's more people's real self than their real self is. People already make assumptions off of your Facebook profile and your LinkedIn profile and never even remotely get to know who you are.
Right.
Whereas in the old school ways, like I'm old school. I'll go to a bar. What's up? How you doing? My name is this. Spit game. Make her laugh. This, that, and the third.
People can't hold conversation anymore.
And even other pieces of technology in the gaming industry that could increase people coming together, like Xbox's Kinect.
Yeah, the Kinect game. Yeah,
it doesn't really get used that often. I mean, you don't really see a whole lot of Kinect games.
It got shat on, man. It got shat on hard, and that's why they got the Xbox One without the Kinect now. And it's like, you had an opportunity here to get people off the fucking couch and actually exercise, but no one's taking to it. Everyone wants to just sit there and twiddle their thumbs. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I don't understand.
People don't want to connect, I don't think, anymore.
The first thing Faye does when she gets up in the morning, every single morning, she gets on her Facebook. I'm like, are you that popular? Are you, not to roast you, but that's why I don't even check my Facebook anymore. I try not to use Facebook ever because it's like you're plugged into the matrix.
Yeah, but sometimes you get trapped in, like some of my friends on Facebook. It's the only way that we're able to get in touch with each other. In order for me to stay in the loop, I have to participate.
Get out of the loop, man. You watch how productive you are when you get out of that loop. I guarantee you your productivity is going to skyrocket.
No, you're right, but I think with anything, it's, everything in moderation.
There's no moderation with Facebook.
But there can be.
False, dude. There's no, like,
sure, because you can take it off your
stuck.
phone. The only time that you access it is when you're home. When it's on your phone, the phone is what's the problem with social media. You are always accessible.
Right.
Always. If you want to wean yourself off of social media, the very first thing you have to do, you have to take it off your phone.
So here's a question for you two, to bring you back into the conversation. How often do you walk into a room nowadays and all you see is...
All the time, and I do hate it, and I try really hard not to be that person. Like, and if I have to check my phone for whatever reason, I usually apologize to anyone around me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to check. Sorry,
not even anybody there. So, sorry,
I'm by myself at home, and I'm checking. I'm like, God, I feel so lame right now.
Brother, you gotta apologize. Your TV's watching. Your TV's
all those
like,
hackers
you're such an
that are on my
right
phone
now,
taking pictures of me while I'm looking at Facebook. Yeah, that stuff.
There's good and bad to it, but I see more the bad of it. I'm that generation that's like, I can adapt to change, but I can still witness what's wrong with it, versus the kids who were born like 10 years after me or 15 years after me. Mm-hmm. That's all they fucking do, is they're just in like, and they're giving kids iPhones. I refuse to give Chloe an iPhone. Yeah. I refuse. I want to give her the most fucked up ass phone that has one button, and that's to call home. That's it. Like, why do kids need iPhones? Why do they need iPads? Why? What are they going to do with it?
Well, I know parents who use it to keep kids calm when they need them.
Don't have a kid.
It's the new pacifier.
Exactly.
Pacifier.
Don't have a kid if that's going to be your attitude when you raise a kid, because that to me, that's bullshit.
But how much is it of you being like the old man shaking your stick on the
100%?
Because
100%. These fucking kids. 100% get off my lawn.
Social media, and phone technology is not going away. It's not.
No, obviously it's not.
It's what it is. So you can either hit it face on and then prepare them at an earlier age so that they can have responsibility towards it, or you could live in denial.
Sure.
Yeah. These kids are savvy as well.
Yeah, they are.
They
computer savvy. They can't change a fucking tire.
Yeah,
they don't know how to talk to people or introduce themselves properly. Like, I try to introduce.
But they're also teenagers, and no teenagers have ever been able to do that.
And it's
right here. This one right here.
I'll use the example, like my mom was always lecturing me about kids today don't know how to cook. I'm pretty old school, and I can remember the days before microwaves.
I don't use microwaves.
Damn, you old as shit, dude.
Yeah. No, but
I don't like the way microwaves make
before
my food
microwaves,
taste.
My baby food was made in microwaves.
before the days of microwaves, you had to know how to cook. You had to know how to prepare food. Then the microwave hit and became mainstream, and then everything became instant prepare, instant warm up, and then the art of cooking died as a result of it. You can kind of say the same thing with the telephone and social media. The art of conversation in the meeting kind of died as a result as a result of social media. But people just haven't stopped learning how to cook. It's just most people just don't do it anymore. They have to relearn it, and people, I think, have to just relearn how to be sociable again.
How come when I come to your place there's no food?
because I'm a microwave generation. I just throw it in the microwave.
You're talking about old school and cooking. I come over and there's nothing.
Nah, like, I got some newspaper you can mush together.
We got some water. You want some water, Anthony?
But social media has also changed our business. It has
Yeah,
changed
very
our
much so.
financial market. It has changed our business.
Yeah.
You know, who gets hired for jobs now is largely based on your social media following.
Yeah.
And I understand it. It sucks as somebody who's not very popular in social media. but like,
It forces you to have to put yourself out there.
Well, in 2 weeks, I'm heading off to literally sit on an island with a bunch of teenagers. And when they arrive, we like take their SIM cards.
Are you a pedophile?
Yes, I've actually gotten my own island as well. I'm doing really well with it.
There's nowhere you can run.
No, I teach marine biology, but like the whole part of it
cool.
is that they are going to be like off the grid. So I'll check back in with you guys in a couple of
let
months
me
and tell you how
know.
they cope. Yeah,
I want to know about that generation. I feel like I feel so foreign.
Yeah.
I spent time on a cruise once for 7 days, and there was no internet unless you were willing to pay a premium. And I'm cheap as fuck, so I didn't pay the premium. And for 7 days, I didn't have any internet at all.
You was like a junkie, weren't you? Where my Facebook status?
Like getting the sweats the first 3 days.
Tweet me, please, somebody.
But it was awesome to just disconnect, and you had to interact with the people who were there. Yeah. It forced you to like pick up those skills again. I'm scared for the next generation that doesn't have the ability. Like every time I try to talk to people now, within seconds, like I can see their eyes fading, and it's just like, what happened? Like this used to be easy. When I was a kid, people would chat for a long time.
Right.
Now nobody chats.
No.
It's like within 5 seconds, the conversation's over, and they want to get back on their phone. The final thought I want to give to this is the most perplexing part is that we keep talking about this. Like there's things that come out on Facebook, on YouTube, talking about how bad social media can be, how it's like heroin, but nothing's changing. We talk about what's wrong in the world with like global warming. Nothing's changing. Like all we're doing is talking about it, but
Have you
nothing.
seen Tomorrowland?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You see Tomorrowland? They
Yep.
talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
It got shitted on, but I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
But that was the thing is everybody keeps talking about the negative. Everybody keeps talking about the negative, but still, you know, you have to like hope. You do have the power to change it. We can all stop it. You just have to decide to. And there'll be some catalytic moment in our society where that change will be forced.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know what it's going to be.
Global warming.
I agree with you.
Global warming. That's going to make everybody change.
Like
Everybody.
the problem is that it's going too slowly
Nope.
for people.
Nope.
For a
No.
mainstream.
Nah.
Many
Nope.
We will
people.
have.
It's
We will
speeding up
have.
fast.
It is speeding up now, but that's what I feel like. But this has been an issue for a long time, like the lack of water in California.
It's
been an
irre-
issue for a long
We-
time.
we're
but
gonna have-
now is the time where we take action.
It's-
We're going to have no ice on the poles in summer in 10 years. We will have no caps
Yeah.
at the north in 10 years.
Yeah, you see that Vice when they talk
I did,
about it?
yeah.
Yes.
I put out a tweet. I put out
terrifying.
I put out
Oh,
a
shit,
tweet. Season 3, episode 1 of Vice was scarier than the San Andreas trailer, and the executive producer of Vice retweeted it. I was like, yeah.
Wow.
But that's also another problem with our social media. How happy did that make you?
It made me incredibly
So happy. Exactly.
I got a high
we
off
get
of that.
we get a high off
Yeah.
this social media connection.
All right, so thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to follow her on Twitter, what's your Twitter? What's your tweet?
Both my Twitter and Instagram are Caitlin Skybound.
Sounds pretty restricted.
My name was taken. There's so many freaking Caitlin McHughes out there.
Do you have anything?
No, I'm off the grid. Apart from Instagram, I'm Jane Abroad.
Don't send any dick photos to her, please.
I'm fine with it. You can send
Just
me.
a couple.
Hey, and look, we have a viewer, an international viewer.
Yeah.
So please, in the comments, shout out where you're from. We love that, and you know we will reach back out to you. We read every single comment. So you guys are a part of our community. Please don't be shy and tell us that you like us. Tell us that you hate us. Whatever it is, we'll read it.
Last thing to you guys, if you guys love the show, please do me a huge favor, get on Reddit. Go on Reddit and talk about this till your heart's content. Spread the word about Good Thing, Bad Thing. Tell all your friends, tell your mom, your dad, your pets, everybody. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and tune in next week for Good Thing, Bad Thing. Peace out.
Hey, can I do your good thing, bad thing? Welcome to Good Thing, Bad Thing.
You done fucked up my outro, dude. What the hell?
I want to do it, man.
Go ahead, do it.
All right, I'm done. I
Go
already
do it.
Did it.
No, do it. Do it.
Do it.
Welcome to Good Thing, Bad Thing. I'm your host, Jabby Koe, and this is...
Sintel Koei, what's up?
All right, we're done.